One cash, whip loaded full of pounds, distribution through the town. Cooking on my sound, yeah, my think it's ready now. Weed man, yeah, that's me. Delivery charge, yeah, that might affect your feet. Freedom's in the eye of the beholder. Understand that now I'm a little older. Stolen bikes with the pegs on them. Make sure these with the legs on them. You had work that wasn't eat food. Show resistance, break a leg on them. I'm playing, never took it that far. See you to school the next day, but he won't know who we are. A couple rap battles, which led to rap songs. 10,000 hours in, felt like a rap god. I feel like a rap god, seen as a block star. A lot of dog hoes, but she swings a lot job. Turned every single lemon into lemonade. I used to tell myself that I would never change. I used to tell myself that I would never change. What's the point of living if you stay the same? Except for certain ties, what's it worth to me? Sure.
Alright.
Got it.
We back. Check Your Ego podcast. We here. How you feeling, man?
Another week down, man. Another week down. Another week just to kind of, refresh things. You know what I mean? Another week of just experiencing and learning from, certain things that happened during the week. You know what I mean? Another week just to kind of sit in front of a camera and just kind of reflect on all different types of situations that, popped in my head over the last little while. You know what I mean? So ready to just drop it for today's episode.
How you feeling about the year so far? Like off top.
One thing is I try not to do is try not to look forward when things start opening up. I like to just live in the moment. I feel like a lot of people, and the reason why I'm saying this, I'll give you my answer. I feel like a lot of people say, I can't wait to hit vacations. They're basically just going to live in sorrow until them opportunities become available. So I every day, I try to stay in that moment. I try to stay locked in that moment and maximize the time that I have. So that way I'm not feeling pressured about, let's wait till, March 31st when everything opens up and then I can go back to my normal day of living. I don't want to feel that pressure. So I'm just living in the moment day by day. And I feel like that's kept me sane. So I feel good.
I respect that, but I'm trying to go on vacation. Yeah. I need a vacation, dog. And that has nothing to do with like the environment and what's going on right now in terms of like the coronavirus. That's just, it's cold out here, I don't really like being in cold weather too much. I think it affects my mental in a way that that just slows me down, right? So I like heat, I like sunlight, I like being able to visualize beaches and trees and just people being active and people being happy in general. I think that type of energy makes me happy, so I would prefer that environment. If we were like in California or something, I wouldn't have nothing to say. We could just basically touch outside, but
Half an hour run.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But you already know how Canada stays like.
And I'll say this, right? Like in my mind, the way that keeps me humble is I haven't done enough to feel like I need to go on vacation. I haven't done enough performance-based stuff to feel like I need to reward myself with a vacation. Although, it's been a tough year. We all know. We've all probably heard of people losing their lives and stuff like that. And, RIP to, everyone that lost a family member or lost a friend for that matter. But I feel like I haven't done enough. So that keeps me in check. That keeps me right home.
That's fair enough.
But yeah, man, like,
Nesso in the building. X in the building. K in the building.
Yes, sir.
What's them stocks saying? We got a stock analysis in the corner right now, foreign exchange.
Every 10 minutes he's sending us updates. You hear anything in the background, you already know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, honestly, just on that note, to kick it off, like, always develop. One thing we said last week is, always try to develop your mind and growth. Several days a week I'll pop in with these guys and we'll pass information off about what's performing well in the market. And I'm happy that even my friends and the people I'm close to, every day we're talking about the same things together. You know what I mean? It helps me grow as a person. I now have my friends and the people I'm close to on a daily basis. We're speaking the same language. Again, it's not just me.
Honey.
It's not just me. But I want to talk about, just kind of reflect on last week's episode because I feel like it was a dope one. It's a very transitional one. We kind of talked about, like, becoming a father. And we obviously had a guest with us last week. Shout out to Costa for coming through. But it was definitely a good one just to kind of see that you and him are embarking new challenges in life and embarking new stages of your life. So we're hoping to see the best of what you guys can do with your new family.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful in that matter, that anybody watching that is maybe expecting a kid or going through the same things that we were going through or we discussed, that that conversation was beneficial to you. Like we could have taken that conversation a lot deeper, and I think we should at some point. You know what I mean?
Maybe run it back one time.
Yeah, especially because both of our kids are so young. So like we're experiencing a certain stage right now. A year from now, we're gonna be in a completely different place, experiencing new things. So those type of things, you're always learning. You're continuously growing from the environment and from the situation. So we'll definitely run that back. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was my favorite one so far. There was couple topics that you kind of have to just word your thoughts out better. You don't want to pull anybody into the conversation that doesn't necessarily need to be in there, especially when you're talking about personal issues like that. But it turned out real well. Happy for that.
That's what's up. I'm gonna change the tone and the direction of our conversation right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, just kick us off right into it. A lot of people talk about different characteristics in a relationship, whether you think about characteristics in itself, characteristics, or you just think about this thing means more to me for whatever reason. So I want to talk about trust. I want to talk about trust and how it impacts your relationship. So I'm gonna pass the ball over to you and let you just speak on trust and how it impacts your relationship.
Yeah, well, I believe I don't know if it was last week or a couple weeks ago, I kind of touched on this, just in terms of like the word love, and we look at the word love as its own entity. But over the past couple months, years, I should say, I've come to understand that love is a piece of the puzzle, and love by itself is not a complete. It's just not a complete thing, right? You need trust, you need loyalty, you need a bunch of other elements that go into the word love. So when we talk about trust, I feel like that is probably the most, trust and respect, but trust definitely is really high on that chart for me. If you can't trust somebody, what type of relationship can you really expect to build? You know what I mean? Like how would you go about that if your partner's out late at night doing something and you don't trust what they told you they're doing? How could you possibly expect to build a relationship, or a bond, a family, a future with that person? And that's just one example. But in terms of trust, that definitely has to be there. And for me personally, that is extremely important. I don't see any path to success if you don't trust the person that you're in a relationship with.
Yeah, that's taking ownership. And I see when you're speaking, taking ownership of everything, right?
Honey.
I can say that I've done some questionable things that kind of put my trust, at a point where people question it. So be it. You know what I mean? So be it. I'm gonna live with it. But when we talk about trust, I can just talk of the effects of trust, right? If you trust somebody, no matter who your partner's with, you know that you're good. When I hear people say, "Yeah, don't worry, I don't mind if he's going XYZ because I know what it's like." I'm just like, "Yo, are you just naive, or you actually have something solid there?" Mm-hmm. And I actually I value that. I'm like, "Yo, that's where I need to be at." You know what I'm saying? So when I speak to people like that, sometimes I'll kind of get in a deeper conversation. But like, "Yo, how come you not?" And then they give me their XYZ reasons why they're able to feel that way. I'm just like, holy, you know what I mean? Maybe there's another level to this that I need to kind of achieve. And obviously that's part of growth, so I'm fine with saying that. I'm fine with whoever takes it as you should know that already. Whatever. That's an area that, you know what I mean? We're all growing at different rates, and you know what I mean? So I'm fine with taking that. So I feel like trust, if you don't have it, then every situation you're gonna question your partner. And when you talk to them, and it's gonna be another difficult conversation, because now it's like, F you type of thing, type of vibe in the area. So I feel like trust is definitely a big one. Obviously it is. But yeah, I just want to talk about trust and how it plays a factor in a relationship. Obviously, not having trust could lead to the demise of your whole stadium, your whole everything that you built. So if someone feels like they're questioning your trust, I feel like you should make them feel comfortable that they should trust you or you should trust them type of thing. Sorry.
So how would you go about that? How would you go about establishing trust with somebody that you feel doesn't trust you? You know what I mean?
Part of it is deep conversations. You gotta understand your mindset, where your interests are. Because if I feel like you question me on this one area, I'm gonna be like, why do you question me on this area? You know what I'm saying? If you think I have bad spending habits and you feel like every time I'm out, I'm spending money that's used for our home, whenever it's time to pay bills, I don't have it because all Friday nights I'm going to the bar and spending $100. If you don't trust me there, I'm like, hey, why do you feel like, So I'm gonna have those conversations to understand why you don't, and then I'm gonna show you that this is not what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that was just one example, obviously, but that's how I would deal with a situation like that. Is try to understand why you feel that way. And again, if you're just pulling my strings and you're just trying to bait me into saying something stupid, then I'm gonna get that vibe very quickly because I pick up on things like that.
Yeah. I also think like a lack of trust in your partner, that could stem from a lot of things. Maybe past relationships that you've been in. Also your family, if you never grew up seeing trust, like between your parents or your grandparents or whoever was taking care of you, or you considered a role model, I think that'll affect your view on trust as well. Sometimes it's not just as simple as like what's on the surface. It goes real deep. There's a lot of the times there's a real deep rooted issue when it comes to that things. Relationships in general. You know what I mean? Nobody's perfect. Nobody enters a relationship perfect or unscarred or unscathed from past trauma or past relationships. So, I think that's a factor too. Like if you're having that dialogue with your partner, I think it's best to get to know them on all fronts and all levels to see exactly if they are experiencing trust issues with you. Figure out where that truly stems from, because a lot of the times it might not even be because of you. It could be because of them. You know what I mean? Their past experiences with shit. So, have that dialogue and figure that out. That's definitely never an easy thing to do, but
that's what's up.
It's necessary.
That's what's up. There's a lot of growth when we talk about these situations. So it's like, we can always, take a topic and then discuss it in several different levels. So I kind of like having these conversations.
Yeah.
Another thing that I heard, just to kind of move on to the next topic here, is like I heard, on the radio, I think it was, that a lot more relationships and marriages are falling apart in the last 12 months, and they obviously try to use the scapegoat as the pandemic as a way for that. Now, if you're for that or against it, could you tell me some reasons why you would think the pandemic would play a factor in your relationship falling apart?
Well, I think it causes people to change it caused people to change their everyday habits and their everyday routines. Now you can't, depending on what field you work in, you might not be working. So now you're at home all the time. So your daily regimen that you would follow while going to work, you don't have that anymore. Now you're at home. Your partner could potentially be at home. You guys aren't used to being in that environment with you guys both there for 12 hours a day. And let's say you have kids too. You're not used to everybody being in a household for that duration of time every single day. So, you're gonna find little things that could potentially bother you, that you might have forgot bothered you because you were at work. You feel what I'm saying? So it exactly what you said. It definitely exposed. It'll expose a lot of people's relationships, and it will shed light on what they might have thought was their relationship, if that makes sense. It might not have been. You know what I mean? It might have just been you guys overcompensating for things. Now that you guys are both home, you can see like, damn, we really weren't as close as we thought we were. Or we don't really communicate as well as we thought we did. So, I think, the pandemic, in a weird way, it's kind of a good thing. Depends on how you look at it.
And I'll say this too, and I'll say this just to echo that last point. It could be a good thing, right? Because I see a lot of people, trying to get out the house in terms of, again, not being in public, but at least they're trying to go for walks more. They're trying to do it together with their partner. Mm-hmm. That tells me, and I see that stuff on the road when I'm driving, and I see two people, husband and wife, obviously going for a walk. I'm thinking like, these guys are literally, taking a time to step outside their house to kind of do some exercises together. Usually that kind of clears your mind. You know what I mean? As simple as it is, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that moment of just walking around the block for half an hour with your partner and just talking about, oh yeah, this guy's a nice house, a nice property, or you know what I mean, the park's over here, they could do a little bit here in the park, you know what I mean? Them type of small conversations, you know what I mean? It's just a normal conversation. Like going to the coffee shop and just having just chopping it up, talking about X, Y, Z, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I see stuff like that, I trip out because I'm at a different age now, you know what I'm saying? Where again, I'm not in the clubs every weekend, and I used to see certain things in the club. I'm now in a new age and, taking on new challenges in life, and I'm seeing small things as just you and your partner going for a walk, you know what I mean, with your family, and you guys are taking your kid together, and you guys are just all going for a normal walk together. You guys are doing an activity together to kind of keep that bonding time together, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously we can't do much during the pandemic, so, shout out to the people who are actually spending that time and doing home activities. You have a lot of stuff going on. I can say that for yourself. You're doing a lot of your stuff with your daughter as well.
100%.
Maybe you want to share, some of the bonding time and the bonding activities that you do.
Yeah. Just anything that keeps her active and really keeps her engaged. Like that's my focus right now. I don't really want her to be like a slave to the television. I know it's not really that much of a bad thing. When we were young, we watched a lot of TV, but I think the difference now is that these kids, it's just it's so accessible to them. Like for 5 minutes, just speaking off of my experience, I'm sure a lot of parents can relate, but she'll be watching one show for 5 minutes and then she'll be like, I want to watch this show and I want to watch this show. And it's just like your attention span is not, there's no range to it really. It's just like that. So, I try to just keep her engaged, do a lot of different activities that force her to focus on things a lot.
You want to drop the plug? You want to plug it in with what's really going on?
Yeah, we got a little father-daughter YouTube channel going. It's called Navy's World.
That's what's up.
We just do, again, like a bunch of activities. We do tutorials. I'm going to be coming out with, certain learning regiments and game plans that hopefully we don't only use, people like it and enjoy it, and they want to utilize it in their day-to-day life with their kids as well. So I'm really excited about that. But back onto the topic. Yeah, man.
So just to say that, I was talking to my sister a little while ago, and she has 3 boys. One's 17, 16, around that age. The next one's like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, and the other one, he's a little guy. He's like 5 years old, but he always thinks he's a boss. He's a funny guy. You know what I mean? Every time he wants to get something, he just yells and screams. He's funny. He shout out to him. But the 9-year-old is. We talked about him for a minute, and we were sharing some moments about just kids in general. How sometimes you're looking at your kids and you're like, yo, this guy is actually pretty intelligent. You know what I'm saying? So some of the stuff that he was doing, we could start to see like he's not thinking like a normal child. He's advanced in this area. So I suggested some things that he could, she could challenge him with and see how he does in those areas. So that was an exercise that she's going to do with her child, just to kind of test him and just, obviously with Corona, you're stuck with your people. You know what I mean? It's not like you can get out the house. Like we said, you're 24 hours in the household. If you're still working, then obviously you're away. But again, through the down period of the pandemic, you could still do activities. You could spend a little bit more time, just that
100%.
Bonding time and that development time with your children. You can guide them in certain ways a little bit more. Whereas if you're out work 8 hours and then you have to travel home, it takes you an hour and a half, your kids at the daycare, you know what I'm saying? You're not really involved in their day to day. But now you could start to see them on a different level. But yeah, man, I think that bonding time, that bonding time with your girlfriend or your kids or whatever the case may be is definitely good.
So yeah, we've talked about a lot of the ups. We haven't really talked about the downside. So like, do you think there was more of a positive effect or a negative effect because of this pandemic in regards to like relationships?
Just the space I've been in the last, let's say 12 months. It's always trying to find the beauty in things. As cliche as that sounds, it's always trying to find the upside, always find the positive in things. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I mean, if your relationship didn't work out, maybe it wasn't supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you were just, maybe this exposed some of the situations that were going to happen later on in life. So might as well just cut that now, save your year and a half, save your 2 years, save your 5 years, and let's do right by it. You know what I mean? Let's fix it. So I'm gonna say positive. Again, if you love your spouse, then you want to be around her more. If you love your partner, or you cherish your partner, you have time to be around them more. I always crack this joke when I'm at work. It's like, it's crazy that, when people are working so much, like, I wish I didn't have to work. Well, no one's working. You know what I mean? But you're feeling the effects, obviously. But it's a joke I like to crack with people at work. They always laugh and whatever.
Yeah.
It's just an icebreaker type of thing. But anyway, it's how you vision life. It's how you see things. You know what I'm saying? So if you see things that are negative, then that means, either your outlook or your personal point of view on things are you know what I mean, are steered in a direction where I feel like you could cherish it, man. Because there are people, if it's a financial stress that you're facing, then you know what I mean. That tells you that maybe your career is not the greatest place that you need to be. Maybe you want to excel in some studies and hopefully get a couple more certificates so you can move up a position or move on to something greater. But if it's something where your relationship is rocky,
well, that's the thing. Like, there's no perfect relationship, right? And I think, like, when it comes to work, people going to work, I think that kind of allows you to reset, and that kind of allows you some time away from your partner. That you might actually need, right? So, being that we're in this pandemic and everybody is forced to be together, you're forced to deal with a lot of things that you might not have necessarily been prepared to deal with at that particular time. So there is a lot of positive, but that could also be a negative, because you might actually truly love this person, but because now you're forced into a situation where you have to confront them all the time, you might look at that as, it's a confrontational situation, and you might just exit out the relationship when you really should have just been sitting there and working through the problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like 100%. I feel like that's I feel like with your question that you asked that's the easiest way of laying it down for you. You know what I'm saying? The easiest way of laying it down. Like, obviously there are points in time where you need to step away from a little bit. There's times when you need your alone time, no matter what the case may be. You're married to someone, but you still need alone time. You still need to recalibrate and bring things, to a neutral balance.
Yo, you guys are my people. I don't always want to be around you guys. Right. You guys don't always want to be around. You know what I mean? I think it's just, in a relationship, I think it's the same infrastructure kind of applies. You need that time to check in on yourself and just be by yourself. You know what I mean? I think true growth happens by yourself, when you're able to analyze who you are and what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. And if you're always around people, sometimes that voice gets drowned out, and now you're going off of what they want and instead of you.
No, for sure. So yeah, man, just to kind of bring it around. Yeah. You know what I mean? When you ask the question, is like, negative does happen. You got to be able to understand that no matter what situation you're in life, just afraid, shit is always gonna hit the fan.
Yeah.
Shit is always gonna hit the fan. You could be in the best situation ever. You're gonna face those times where it's challenging. So it's just how you see past it. You know what the best thing is, and remember we talked about long-term relationships.
Right.
Being in a relationship long-term is you've been through these channels. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if it's meant to be, it will be. As cliche as that sounds, I know I'm dropping a lot of cliche phrases and sayings, but it's like, if it's meant to be, it will be. If you guys are meant to see past this, you guys will see past this. You know what I mean? If you guys respect each other on a level, you guys will get through it. You know what I mean? There's always going to be hard times, whether it's a pandemic or it's something 5 years down the road. There's always going to be something that hits you in your face and you'll be like, yo, I want out of this. You know what I'm saying? It's that thing that you kind of, that puts you back in check to say, like, let's work through this. Let's work through this. And that's why I say it's positive, because sometimes you need it. Sometimes you need to be hit in the face to kind of feel pain. You know what I mean? That way you just get back up and be like, yo, I bodied this. You know what I mean? There's always that one line that that I like from Cameron. It's just an example. It's just an example when Cameron got in a situation where, he got shot and stuff like that. He's like, I ate them joints like Scooby snacks. You know what I'm saying? And I used that, and it's just like, yo, that's a hard line, because he took some pain, but he came back. He's trying to say, like, I ate them things and I came back stronger. I came back in a harder form. So it's kind of the same message I'm kind of relaying right now.
Funny.
Yeah, man. So yeah, just let's brighten things a little bit. You know what I mean? Let's brighten things. Just me scrolling through the timeline, seeing what's out there. You know, I seen a lot of stuff going on about like, you know, how to treat your girl and how your girl should treat your guy. Actually, matter of fact, let's put that on pause for a little bit. There's one dude that we all follow, we all laugh about. You know what I'm saying? Where people call into his channel. Let's talk about this because this is good content. People call into his channel and they talk about, yo, I need all this. I need the guy to be 6 foot. I need a guy to have 6 figures. I need a guy to have all this. And he's just a straight face shooter, like a poker face just hits you, bop, 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 bop.
I mean,
what do you feel with people that have those type of, I need this, and then he's giving to them raw and they're not really satisfied with his answers?
I mean, that's life. That's life. You know what I mean? You build up an expectation of what things should be or what they're supposed to be, whether it be from your own experiences, your family passing those expectations down to you. Like, that's life. And I think that you need that. We need that, especially being a man in this era and understanding, you know, what we want to build. Men, we like to build before we invite people into our circle.
In the simplest form to say it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We want to build, especially when it comes to a relationship. And a lot of the times, not a lot of the times, but, you know, this era that we're in with social media and just this modern day man and this modern day women, we are not built for relationships because of our views. Our views are so skewed. Everybody wants to do everything. The women want to do what the men do, and the men want to do what the women do, right? So there's no longer any balance. And with a dude like that, what he's doing is he's kind of resurrecting the balance. He's like, yo, listen, ladies, if this is what you want out of a man, this is what you need to be in order to get that out of a man. And, you know, I feel like he's somewhat of a champion for men right now because we've lost that voice. I think we're in this new era of just this liberal, like, feminist movement where it's just
with their demands, you know, their demands have to be met.
They have to be met. It's like, you know, men are the enemy, and it's like, nah, we're not the enemy. We need each other. We're the yin to the yang, and we got to work together. You know what I mean? Everybody should be treated fairly, but you know, we aren't equal. Men and women are not equal, and I'm not saying that in a sense that, you know, men are better than women or women are better than men, but we fundamentally and biologically have different jobs. That's it. We have different jobs that will not allow us to be equal. So a person like that, he's just shedding light on that, and, you know, it's funny to watch sometimes because a lot of these women don't get it. And it's crazy to watch because these are a lot of the type of women that, you know, we tend to you know, engage in. And
let me just bring it back, right? So you guys understand what we're talking about, right? There's this one dude that goes on Instagram. He just has a channel. He has the camera just facing him, and obviously people just call in from their webcam and just voice their.
It's mainly women.
Yeah, my bad.
It is all women.
Yeah, so he's the expertise where they're calling his channel looking for, you know, advice type of thing, and they're just being like, yo, I'm a woman, and they're just basically demanding certain things. I need my guy to have, you know, be a height 6'3". He needs to have a muscle build. He needs to have his own house. He needs to have his own car. He needs to have his own. Like, they're basically just voicing those type of concerns, and he's basically just, okay, perfect. Let me ask some questions about you. What's your dress size? You know, what's your height? What's your marital status? How many children do you have? He's just breaking down all the different things that men kind of, you know, see as attractive. As sad as it says, but or sad as it seems, that's basically, if you're demanding all them things, well, guess what? On our side, we're looking to see if you meet those requirements. If you feel like you need a 6-figure man, if he needs to have a Lamborghini, if he needs to, you know, be self-sufficient, he needs to be a sole provider. If you're expecting all those different things, you can't be just it's gonna come off wrong, but you can't just be an overweight woman with 5 kids, you know, not really, you know, meeting end or having ends meet, demanding all those different things. So he's basically just bringing, you know, just
shedding light on that, man.
Yeah, we're just talking about it. He's having a conversation, and I'm hoping, like, we all laugh about it because it's like, you know, the way he does it in a real professional manner, and obviously it rubs people the wrong way.
People hate that calm, factual dialogue when you just raw with it, but you're calm and you're relaxed, and it's just all real. people hate that, man. They would just rather you spaz on them or be disrespectful.
And he just, the way he does it is just like it's brilliant. Like, yo, it's no words less than just saying brilliant, because he's just hitting you perfect. He's asking questions. I can see their reactions, like, why are you asking this question? Like, why? Like, they don't see what's coming next. He's building a profile for you as you're demanding these things, and he's building a profile for you as he's asking these questions, and he kind of dissects it. Why are you asking for this if you don't have this? Anyway, I would love to see a woman in that space where guys are calling into her channel and they break down, from a woman's point of view. I would love to see a woman kind of get in that field where they're, they've educated themselves and they put themselves in an area where they can deliver those type of messages for the guy's perspective now. You know what I mean? But yeah, man.
That would definitely be interesting, and I say that would be interesting because I don't think we don't have the demands like that. Would you agree with that? We don't have those particular demands. Like we don't demand a woman to have her own car, her own house, her own. We don't have those type of demands. For a man, it's more so, are you gonna ride with me? Are you gonna rock with me?
Simple, point blank, bro.
If I'm trying to build this, are you gonna add to it? Are you gonna build that infrastructure with me so later on we can all be prosperous and profit off of that? I think it's real simple for a man in that realm. So I couldn't really see that going too well, but I could be wrong.
Like I've never heard a dude say, "Yo, my woman needs to be 5'6".
I never.
He needs to be brown skin. You know what I mean? She needs to have money. 6 figures. Yeah, I never seen a dude like, yo, bro, what? Like, what are you guys talking about?
You're not gonna see that.
Nah, because I just think the mental logic is we're not looking to rely on somebody else. We're looking to hold down the fort ourselves.
Right. And we need somebody to come in and add and just help us, basically.
Add that touch, that touch around. But yeah, man. So
it's crazy. We in a different time, man. Men and women, we just in a completely different time. We in a different mental space, and it really comes down to understanding who we are as a gender, and honestly just passing on the information to the next era, because that's what is really important. And it's a very, very overlooked thing. Our generation, we all want to focus on us, and it's never just about you. It's about what you're going to be passing down to your kids and what they're going to be passing down. So
I got another one now.
What's good?
I got another one. And you could even chime in too if you want to add a 1-2 to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could talk about like when you see a girl, let's say you know her and she's been in a relationship for however long, and you can tell that she's now single. She's broken up from a relationship, and then she goes on social media and she starts doing a lot of things that are kind of, it appears to be outside the character that you've known her for. Mm-hmm. And now you're like, yo, shorty, you're doing a little bit too much. Like you're moving in a direction where it's like either you're trying to prove someone wrong, or you're just trying to show everyone that you're now changed and different. Like, what kind of things do you see on social media or just in regular day-to-day life where you're like, shorty, you're doing too much? What do you consider doing too much?
Man, I've seen it all. I've seen the breakups. I've seen, women pregnant, breaking up in the middle of their pregnancy and going online and putting dude on blast. I've seen so much things, and it's just like, it's almost like we're numb to it now. I don't really know how to answer that. Like, all of that is too much. You know what I mean? Keep that shit off the net, because at the end of the day, you're the one looking stupid. Because it's like,
goofy, right?
You were with that person. So what does that say about you? You feel what I'm saying? It's like, what does that say about you? But, people don't see it like that. That's why, a couple episodes I said, I kind of touched on it. I was like, I want the person that I'm in a relationship with, I want them to reflect me, and I want to be able to reflect them. So if I'm doing goofy shit, that reflects on you, shorty. And if you're doing goofy shit, that reflects on me. So how about we just not be goofy? Period. You know what I mean? That's it.
So, like, one thing I always laugh at is, and it sucks because it's just like, when you're in a relationship, you see the girl always posting the guy, and it's always looked like good times. It always looks like, sunshine and butterflies. But excuse me, as soon as it's done, she's on there just bashing him and how he did XYZ. I'm just like, whoa, chill, shorty, you're saying a little bit too much. Like a month ago, he was the best dude in the world. You made him seem like he's the, prize candidate. Like, he's the highest guy on the pedestal. Now when you guys are broken up, you have all this to say about the dude. I'm like, yo, where did this all come from? And sometimes I catch myself reading it, and as soon as I get to the third line and I see what you're just trying to do, I'm done. I just close it. I'm like, yo, shorty, you're on some other stuff. Like, you can't be just trying to expose your whole last situation. Like you said, you look goofy too. Like, you're the one who dated that dude, and now you try to make it seem like everything was beautiful. But now after the situation's over, now you got all this to say about him. Like,
it was never real to begin with.
It was never real. I'm sitting there just shaking my head like, yo, fam, Lord, please don't ever make me this character. Please don't ever, don't ever make me this person where I have to go to social media for justification. You know what I mean? But that's why I say, shorty, you're doing too much. Or if I see a shorty that does known to just keep herself together, but on social media she's just out there, like, thirst trapping, every Thursday. You know what I'm saying? I think, you just gotta slow down a little bit. I know you're single now, but just slow down a little bit. You know what I mean? We liked you for being who you are. You don't have to be a new person. But those are just two examples. Those are just two examples that crossed my mind this week.
Did she change into a new person, or was that who she was from jump? When she put on that front? Ooh. But yo, that does it for our time this week, man. We appreciate you guys rocking with us. Like and subscribe. You already know the vibes. We're coming back at you next week again with another one.
Even if you're not comment, man, I appreciate you guys just still hit me up on the side talking about, whatever. I appreciate it more if you guys just drop in the comments.
Drop the comments.
Everybody could see it and everyone could kind of respond together. Yeah. I know some of us are like, yo, I don't want my name to it's cool, man. Whatever, man. Just we're here presenting ourselves in front of you. Why can't you just drop a one-liner, man?
Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
That's what's up. We out.